Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for the slight delay, and thank you for your patience. So welcome to the official World Athletics Media Conference ahead of the World Athletics Championships Tokyo 2025. Gives me great pleasure to introduce the top table, World Athletics President Sebastian Coe, Mr. Mitsugi Agata, the President of the Local Organising Committee for the World Championships here in Tokyo, and Ms. Yuko Arimori, World Athletics Council Member and President of the Japan Association of Athletics Federations. So, without further ado, I pass you over to Seb for his opening remarks.
James, thank you very much. Sorry we are running slightly late, but we are also conducting the final day of our Congress. So look, I'm delighted to be joined by Yuko, my esteemed council colleague, and the first female president of the Japanese Athletics Federation. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And of course, Mitsugi, who is known to many of you in other guises, who is also the president of the local organising committee. Let me start by saying, and it's a very obvious thing to say, we're absolutely delighted to be here in Tokyo. Japan has now hosted our World Championships for the third time. 91 obviously here in Tokyo, 07, when I actually got elected to the vice presidency of the IAAF in Osaka, and of course we are here now. The stadium looks fantastic. I was there on Saturday morning. You can really feel a palpable element of excitement. I spoke to a lot of the athletes last night at one of our media launches. They're very happy to be here. And look, this is I thought there's a sort of an emotional connection here because, as I said, in 2020, just after the postponement of the Olympic Games here, I think we were the first international federation to come and visit Tokyo. I conveyed obviously our sympathies, but also our admiration for the resilience of the people of Tokyo, the political leadership in Japan, and just the ability to withstand that challenge. I can't imagine how I would have felt had in 2012 somebody knocked on my office door in Canary Wharf and said, oh, by the way, your opening ceremony is not July 27 of this year, but we're going July 27 of 2013. So the very fact that those games took place at all is testament to the street smarts and perspicacity of local organisations and structures. It was on the second occasion that I did agree that we would do everything we possibly could to come back here to a new stadium, specifically refurbished for track and field, but this time to bring athletes at a World Championship where, with all expectation, we would have full stadium and noisy, passionate and knowledgeable fans. That is what we will have. And I'm really happy to report that that took place barely 4 years after that commitment, and we've sold just getting on for 500,000 tickets. On average, that will be 50,000 a night, with many sessions sold out. A couple of nights we still need to push for, but the obvious observation here is there are still some tickets available, and I do really encourage all of you in the Japanese media, with respect, to do make the point that this is the largest global sporting event of the year by some distance, and that the teams, the individual athletes, are teams and athletes for the ages in that stadium. In terms of coverage for the audiences at home, you've shown up in record numbers, 900 accredited press, over 1,000 broadcasters to document the thrills and the upsets to your audiences in all four corners of the globe. 1 billion viewers will be watching, and over 2,000 athletes from 200 countries have made their way to Tokyo. And if the last Diamond League and Continental Tour season is anything to go by, then we can expect an athletics display, I really believe, for the ages. I'm not going to run through all the sumptuous head-to-heads, but when you've got Mondo, you've got Faith, you've got the mouth-watering head-to-heads in the 400-meter hurdles, Noah, and of course the Clash of the Titans in the men's discus. Tokyo 25 will also see the return of one of our sport's most iconic stars, Usain Bolt. Usain is here to help drive and launch the Ultimate Championships that will be taking, well, a year yesterday will be the opening day for them. And he will be making a special appearance in the stadium over the next few days. So again, we're really looking forward to the championships. I'm very, very grateful to all those who have stood behind and sat behind the work that's got us here so far. And I really do extend my deepest gratitude to you, Mitsugi, for the work of the organizing committee, the Japanese Association of Athletics Federations, YUKO, and the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. Governor Koike could not have been more helpful in every challenge that we have confronted en route here, and the Japanese Sports Council also for their tireless efforts and unwavering commitment to staging these championships with such professionalism and such pride. So thank you very much. If in fact you are with us in the press conference, but I'm hoping that those constituent, well, two of them are sitting with me. So James,
thanks, Seb.
Back to you.
Thank you very much, Seb. So I'd now like to pass the floor to Ogata-san for his opening remarks. Ogata-san.
東京2025世界陸上財団会長の尾形でございます。
My name is Ogata. I am the president of Tokyo 2025 WCH. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, finally, the Tokyo 2025 World Championship will begin tomorrow. Now, this is the first time in 34 years that we have this event in Tokyo. So, in the overall Japan, this is the third time since 2007 in Osaka. Now, the fact that that Tokyo has been chosen as the venue for this Tokyo was selected as a 2022. Now, the decision on the host city was made 3 years in advance, usually later than usual, but the foundation was established 2 years before the event, which was an unusual move. So we had such a limited, we have made steady progress towards the success of the event. Now, you remember, unfortunately, this national stadium hosted the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games, which was postponed until 2021 and without the spectators. I served as one of the general managers of the Japanese national team at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, but having experienced the Olympics being held without any spectators, I was once again reminded of the magnitude and the significance of the cheering voices of the spectators. So, starting tomorrow for the next 9 days, I am truly pleased to welcome you all to packed national stadium filled with cheering crowds and to share this time as eyes of the world are fixed on you and on us. Now, as of yesterday, we have sold about 500,000 tickets, over 490,000 tickets. So for us, we want more and more people to get the message that we want to deliver the dreams and hopes to more people. And we want to become the model of the future sports event. And with this, we are preparing the best possible environment for about 2,000 athletes from about 200 countries and regions to gather and perform to the best of their abilities. And the motto of this tournament is every second sugoi. Sugoi is a Japanese word that means amazing or awesome. And this motto embodies our desire for the Tokyo 2025 World Athletics Championships to transcend the language barriers and cultures and become a platform for people to share their excitement and connect Tokyo and Japan with the world through athletics and competitions. Based on this model, we hope that every moment of the tournament will be sugoi, and that the shouts of sugoi will be heard all over the stadium and echo around the neighborhood. Feel the limitless power of track and field firsthand as you watch the athletes' dynamic movement, cheered on by the thunderous cheers of the crowd. We will do our utmost to ensure that this tournament is a fruitful and memorable one for all of the athletes and the spectators who support them and everyone involved in the events operated so much.
Thank you, Agata-san. And now I'd like to pass the floor to Yuko Arimori for her opening remarks.
皆様こんにちは。今 WA のカウンシルメンバーの一人であり、そして日本陸上競技連盟会長になりたての有森裕子です。本来であれば
the position of the president of Japan Athletics Association and the federations. So now we are receiving a lot of guests and medias from all over the world. So I probably should be able to speak in English, but however, I would like to speak in language of my mother tongue Japanese because I'd like to be straightforward and we would like to be very clear about what we'd like to say. I'd like to say. At this venue, from all over the world, wonderful medias are getting together and top-ranked athletes from all over the world, and then fans from all over Japan and from over the world. So they are get together here, and through this venue, I want everyone to enjoy the athletics, and I'm very, very grateful that that kind of energy is here through all of them. I'm not supposed to be crying, but I'm very much overwhelmed by this emotion. 34 years ago, as one athlete, I participated in World Athletics, and that was my debut as an athlete in, of course, marathon. Of course, I was cheered by many fans, and championship was really, really good. However, it was my first race in the championship, and I did not remember anything about it. I was too much nervous, too nervous. But now I am here in this position, welcoming a lot of athletes, welcoming all the athletes, and I realize now that this championship has been supported by so many people with so many enthusiasms, and I now believe that my international debut in World Athletics game was a very, very wonderful one. Some athletes made debut here. Some athletes participated in World Athletics many times, but each athlete have their own ambitions, and I hope every athlete can exert their best performance, and all the athletes can expect the big cheering of fans. That is really good. And this World Athletics is not just one event. It's not a standalone championships. We need to pass on these championships to the next generation. For that end, what can we do? What should we do? What can we do to pass on this championship to the next generation? And then next generation will make another fresh start by themselves. What can we do for that? And I am very grateful that I am one of the members to think about those things. My appreciate for everyone, of course, the President Ko, President Ogata, and many other people. And with all the people involved, I will do my best to make this championship successful. And thank you very much for everyone. Of course, everyone should play their own role in their own position, but let's work together.
I would now like to open the floor to questions from the media. If you do have a question, raise your hand, wait for the microphone, and please identify the media you are representing. So, first question here for Natalie, and then Wakako. Just, yes, please wait for the microphone. Thank you.
Natalie Perks, BBC. Aramori-san, in English, if you can, you were very emotional then. Can you tell us what having these championships in front of fans means to the people of Tokyo and Japan?
Sorry, I speak in Japanese again. Probably you may remember this venue was used to 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Back then, what kind of Olympic Games did we have? Well, many people thought many different things through this Olympics, but we thought that sport is not just for athletes. Sport is for everyone to get together, to be energized, to enjoy, and to so that kind of energy is the most important things about sports or athletics. So it is really meaningful to have this championship here in Tokyo. We would like to eliminate the bad part of the memory back then. We revive the sense about the real sport, authentic sports. And I think everybody who comes to venue realize that athletics is a mother of sports. The mother of sports is something to ignite or energize people. That should be a message which can we disseminate from Tokyo Championships game in Tokyo.
Thank you, Yuko. Wakako, just wait for the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you. Wakako Yuki from Yomiuri Shimbun. One question to President Sepko. Emotional speeches from Japanese delegate, and indeed, you have our gratitude. WA have our gratitude bringing back the first major international competition since Tokyo Games to Tokyo. Would you say we're all already expecting, as you said, for stadia with the spectators, then children having real experience for life, and then sponsors are having a lot of public activities. Do you feel, well, you are by all means the best, probably one of the best person who knows what sports can do to the society, how you can change people, sports can change people. And what is your thoughts that those championships could restore what it ought to be, what we missed during time of COVID, and to show us that what sports' real value could be?
Well, Wakaku, thank you for that question. If you all have 2 hours to spare, I'm really happy to take you through those thoughts, because they're very multifaceted. But if I just cut to the chase, look, you know, sport has a unique ability. It's, as I've often said, it's the most potent social worker in all our communities. It does it most effectively, and probably more effectively than any other sector. It has an ability to touch the hearts and minds and lifestyles of young people in the way very few other sectors do. And properly used, and I do mean properly used, then it's probably one of the deftest of of ambassadors and diplomats out there as well, or diplomacy. I couldn't actually add anything more profound than the comments that have already been made to the left of me on this table. I came here in 2020 when the games had been delayed. I sensed immediately the livid nature of the decision that had been made, and the reason we were here was to sort of share our overall concern and challenge that lay ahead. We wanted, as an international federation, to recognise that was, you know, what was being confronted and would need to be confronted over the course of COVID. And look, I have to say that over that COVID experience, we wouldn't have wished it on us, and we wouldn't have wished it on our communities and our families, but World Athletics came out stronger. It brought an emotional connection between the fans and our athletes, because some of the content that was being posted online, it made people realise amongst our fans and the broader population how incredibly creative the athletes were in keeping their world together under the most intolerably difficult circumstances. I think it actually helped the athletes understand that the nature of their fan base was also struggling and being challenged. And as a sport, we used technologies that we probably couldn't have even pronounced before we went into COVID. We are now a much more effective and efficient organisation because we are better connected, and we're using that technology massively to better the impact our sport makes across a whole range of activities. And the athletes came back stronger and probably more mentally resilient, having been through that experience, than when they went into COVID. And, you know, our post-COVID World Championships have demonstrated that extraordinarily, right up to the previous one in Budapest just 2 years ago. So they are the gift that keeps giving, and long may they do that. But I'm very pleased, for very obvious reasons, to be here, because again, it just cements that belief that sport does matter, and it does get to places that other activities simply don't get to. And we've got to define ourselves as sport and not be worried about trying to attach all sorts of other attributes to it. Sport is enough, and it does this job incredibly well.
Thank you, Seb. Mitch, just here. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Mitch Phillips from Reuters. Seb, could you just talk us through the thinking behind having both 100-metre finals on the same night, 7 minutes apart, you know, two of the big blockbuster races? Is there any risk that one might kind of overshadow the other?
I don't think so. Look, these are big-ticket events. We've looked at this. We've spoken more broadly. Our competition program comes together. It comes together incrementally. It's the basis of consultation, discussion, and we think that will work well. We'll see.
Next question, over there.
朝日新聞の方ですけど、尾形さんにお伺いします。先ほど
From Asahi Shimbun, this is for Ogata-san. Ogata-san, you told us about the two missions for this championship. So, what are some of the specific items that you have regarding those two missions, and also what you have to do going forward during the event? Thank you. To deliver hope and dreams to as many people as possible. And we want to communicate the power of sports to all the people. And I want to make sure that the power of the sports is limitless. Now, especially, they say that the more and more children are moving away from sports. But we know, we know how sports can be good for children. But I think children know that, but sometimes adults forget that. So in order to make sure that they remember, I think we have to rely on athletes and their performance to once more ascertain that there's this power in sports, and we have done a real good job in terms of the public relations. I think Japanese citizens know what we are doing, and they're excited about that. And again, we want to be the model of the future championships. Now, Tokyo 2020 has left us is different kinds of legacies. And they are not all positive. We had some negative legacies from Tokyo 2020, but we want to annihilate all that negatives that we experienced in 2021, and we want to make sure that that was just a one-off tragedy. This is how the World Championship should look like, and this is how the World Athletics Championship should be organized. And we are doing this because we were able to get cooperation from so many different organizations and people, and that's the only way we are going to succeed.
Thank you, Angela Checker for the World Athletics Media Academy. Mr. Ko, the question is that the sport has seen a very big growth in reach and popularity, and how does World Athletics plan to utilize that during these championships, but also next year's Ultimate Championships, to bring in a completely new audience to the sport?
Look, it is incumbent upon any governing body of sport, not an expression I really like because it really is an enabling organization, but I think you have to lead from the front. And some of the decisions we've made recently have been brave decisions, whether it's about governances of the sport, whether it's about doing the right thing around supporting and promoting the female category, whether it is being tough on occasions where you need to sanction. But above all, it's about being brave in the innovation and the technology and all the things that you can bring to the table. The convention yesterday, which was the opportunity for us to all sort of sit down for a little bit and talk strategically and have input from people from outside our sport. Bob Weiss, who's the president of Disney Imagineering, came to talk to us about a simple concept. If you can dream, you can deliver it. And the Ultimate Championships next year is a really good example of that we are going to try something different. It's brave, yeah, but it's also going to be suffused in execution. It's great to have new ideas. It's great to sort of come in and try to disrupt the market, but if you don't execute properly and you leave athletes stranded in events that don't really have any purpose, then you go backwards. So we have a great platform to build on. And look, I'm 10 years into this now. The first 4 years, as many of you know, were really preventing the ship from capsizing. The next 4 years were really about putting in all those things that allowed us to have the platform to be even talking about and delivering a different type of world championships. And that really is, for my remaining 2 years, I'm in a hurry. We're going to drive a lot of these things through. And we have to, not everybody is going to be happy with everything we do. But, I don't have to worry about that for very much longer.
Thank you, Seb.
There's a liberation and a freedom for the next 2 years.
Sorry, my eyes are failing me. I think it's Mr. Ida there, just the gentleman there. Yeah.
Larry Eder with Run Blog Run. Seb, this is the first season where you've instituted pretty much the whole season ending before the World Championships. It's been a long season, but how do you think it's gone?
I think it's the right decision. And listen, it was an interesting conversation, but I'm probably going to breach a confidence. I spoke to Carsten Warholm moments after he ran 46 and bits for the 4 hurdles. And we were waiting for him to receive his Diamond League overall winning medal. And he said to me, look, for me, this has been great. He said, now I'm able to go away, I can regroup, I can go into my training camp, I can sleep, I can do all the things that are going to leave me in great shape. And I think that not only is this something the athletes are overwhelmingly supportive of, I think it makes sense. I think there was an element of our fans and people who we're trying to recruit, and the job is really to allow them to understand more about what we do and you know, the interpretation, the rhythm and the pace of the sport. And I think they were confused about a season that sort of seemed to have its crescendo in a World Championships or an Olympic Games. And then we were in Zurich or Brussels or wherever it happened to be a few days later, and they sort of couldn't really compute or relate to what that meant. I think there is now a pace and a rhythm to the season. I think we have our Diamond League, our Continental Tour, our one-day meetings. We have the 2 windows for our national championships. It gives the opportunity to profile with purpose some of the area championships, particularly if they're selection events. And then we go into the major championship with our athletes in decent shape and people understanding, actually, that's it, folks. You know, whoever comes out of here with the bragging rights, you know, has ended the season. So look, I think it's the right decision, but I'm increasingly getting the support from the athletes. We did consult widely amongst the coaches, the athletes, all our stakeholders, and I think we settled on the right format.
Okay, the 2 ladies in the middle here.
Annika Saunos, also for the World Athletics Media Academy. A question to Yuko. As a former marathon runner yourself competing in Tokyo, what are your thoughts and feelings on the marathon competitions and especially your expectations on the Japanese team? Thank you.
It's a difficult, tough question. Thank you very much for your tough question. Regarding Japanese athletes for marathon team, well, there's no problem, and all of them are in good shape. But as you may know, marathon is not a sport to be held in summer. However, the World Athletics and Olympic Games marathon are held in summer. So for the marathon players, it's a very difficult game because it's in heat. It's really difficult, but that makes the competition interesting. The strong player will necessarily be winning because a lot of weather conditions would impact the race. Therefore, we cannot be sure about who is going to be winning. So those who have that kind of many elements involved inside the inside is going to win. So of course Japanese people are familiar with the course. However, that necessarily be the good reason for them to win. Well, don't be too much confidence. Of course, they should be confident enough, but they have to be very carefully prepared, and I think they are doing that.
First to Eddie Powell's.
Hi, Seb. Hi. Just because I haven't asked this in a while, any update on Russia? And sort of as the backup to that, I mean, we're now, I think, about 10 years into them not really being a participant in the biggest sport in the world. And given, you know, I understand why those bans have been in play, but are you concerned that the track is sort of wiping out this country from its events?
Look, it's pretty obvious that we want a full contingent, a full house of teams in our sport. I don't think I need to rehearse the challenges that we were confronted by. The task force went methodically and step by step through the anti-doping element of that. And yeah, we did reach the end of that journey. The task force concluded and the council agreed that what we'd asked, it took longer than it should have done. Occasionally, you know, there were 2 steps forward and maybe even 3 backwards, but we did get there. Of course, the other element, which is well documented, intervened. And we're very open about that. That is then, I mean, that's slightly above my pay grade now. And we do need a settled position, i.e. we need a peaceful agreement before we can move off that landscape. And that is the view of the working group that we have, and that is still, I know, the view of the council. So no, nothing has changed, but, you know, I hope, you know, to God that it does change enough, not just for athletics, because it's an unsustainable situation.
Thanks, Seb. We've got time only for 2 more short questions because Seb has to get back to the World Athletics Congress. So, yes.
Thank you, Hiroki Toda from Asahi Shimbun. This question to local. So about the marathons, I know you made a difficult decision back in 2019, I believe, to move to Sapporo. So
no, we did not make that decision. That was made by the International Olympic Committee.
But how satisfying, you know, the marathon to be back in Tokyo, and you know, the fans in the roads were waiting for that situation. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I'm delighted. I'm delighted that we'll have a marathon on the streets. I'm delighted that people will be able to line the route. I'm delighted that, you know, there's probably no more knowledgeable fan base than the Japanese fan base when it comes to our road endurance and our marathon races. So absolutely delighted. We have made the judgment, initiated absolutely and ostensibly by our medical teams, that we're bringing the start times of those events forward, but they will be taking place in Tokyo, not Sapporo.
Thank you, Seb. And just here, please.
Thank you. Nick Mulvaney from Reuters. Seb, I just wanted to ask you whether you had an update on the gene testing for female events. I think you said you were 95% last week. Are we going to be 100%? And as far as you're aware, are there any athletes that won't be here because of an adverse finding on one of those tests?
Well, I can deal with the second bit very quickly. I don't know the answer to that, nor should I. That's really between our medical delegates and any individual athlete that where we needed further interrogation after that test. I can report that, yeah, we were on 95%, I think, the other day, James. We're inching our way there, and we'll be within touching distance. The ambition was to get women tested. It wasn't to validate the tests. It was actually to make sure, because, you know, there are a number of advantages of doing it at this time. One was that this is a large cohort in the lead up to a championships that you have access to, whether it's their national championships or in the US case, where a lot of the tests were done during the US trials. And it's had its challenges, but we are pretty much there, and I'm really pleased that we agreed to do that. The time frame has been tight, I know that, for some member federations, but that is also the trade-off that you're prepared to make when you need to engage and communicate. And we had to agree the right way for the tests to take place, and the way the member federations and some of our external laboratories have worked alongside our area associations has been terrific. So yeah, I think it's an initiative that was worth doing, and we're within touching distance of that.
Thank you, Seb. I have to apologise, but this is the last question because we have to get back to the Congress. So, yes, lady there.
Nika Aurora Ključarić, World Athletics Media Academy. A question for President Ko. What is, in your opinion, the discipline that you're most excited to see in this spectacular stadium, but not the ones that you competed in your time?
That's a good idea.
Well, that leaves the field quite open, given that I was an 8 and 1500 metre runner, so obviously I can't say those events. This will probably be slightly counterculture for a track a guy to be saying this, but I actually always really enjoy the men's shot put final. It's been in Doha. I thought it was probably one of the most exciting events that I've seen. I've got to know the shot put guys very well, and that's one of the events. I'm looking forward to all of them. There are some sumptuous head-to-heads there, but yeah, the men's shot put final.
Thank you,
It didn't obviously scream off the data that we've been analysing, but yeah, it's just been a gift that has kept giving.
Thank you, Seb. Thank you,
and
Aramori.
the women's marathon, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of you for attending this media conference, and thank you for your patience today. That brings the press conference to a close. Thank you.